Something happened over the weekend in Brazil, and they call it the worst reffing of all time, which I can't dispute. But essentially, a fighter was put in an anaconda choke. If you don't know what that is, just think of a guillotine choke, okay? He goes unconscious. The referee does not recognize that he's unconscious and leaves him there being strangled for 90 seconds. The opponent who choked the opponent out looks to the referee and tells him repeatedly, he's out. The referee who's standing right there shakes his head to the opponent. No, he's not, and lets it keep going. I do not know if the referee asked for a reaction or a response from the opponent who was unconscious. I don't know. I trust that he did, but I didn't see it on camera angle. The referee obviously wasn't mic'd up. I didn't hear it. I trust that he must have, which would bring me back to the conclusion of when he got no response, why did he not stop it? The other side of it is my hypothesis is wrong, and he simply never even asked the question, are you okay? Perhaps he did that, which is perhaps worse. I don't know. They're both so terrible, I don't know. Finally, with no change in the action whatsoever, how are you going to get a change in the action from a limp opponent, right? With no change in the action, after 90 seconds, the referee stepped in and stopped it. And multiple times, the referee was also distracted by somebody outside of the cage who he kept looking up to, motioning physically and then verbally engaging in some capacity. Who that person was, whether it was a commission official, a cornerman, I have no idea. But that was a little bit bizarre as well. Why is the referee looking to anybody outside for whatever's taking place? Why was the referee not in there instantly? Give me a reaction, talk to me, say something. Very, very few times in this sport do we see a guy choking somebody or on top ground and pounding somebody, look up to the referee, say, he's out, and that person is wrong. Very few times. That doesn't mean as soon as the opponent says he's out that the referee should step in and stop it. But it's a darn good indicator that you should be taking a good look at it. And the referee was right there, and I don't know what it is that he saw. There was some twitching. The opponent was making, the gentleman who was unconscious was making a little bit of movement. But I'm talking about like twitching or convulsion or shaking. Every now and then, 10 and 15 seconds apart, you would see his leg move in some capacity. But it ultimately all comes down to the same thing, which is intelligent defense. That's not just when you're being grounded and pounded. That's the common belief, is that it's only when you're being grounded and pounded. But that is not what the rule says. It is intelligent defense. If you are caught in a submission and you are not intelligently defending yourself, the referee's job is to get in there and protect you. You guys remember the fight. Was it Andre Arlovsky? It was somebody, but versus Tim Sylvia. Who was? No, that was Frank Mir. Frank Mir versus Tim Sylvia. And Tim was in an arm bar, and Frank Mir popped his hips, and Tim's bone came popping through his forearm, and Herb Dean stepped in and broke it. And there was all sorts of complaints going on by Tim Sylvia, by the promotion, by the media, by the fans, by everybody, until they did it on replay from a different angle and showed that bone very clearly break. To the extent that post-fight, Tim Sylvia had to have an operation, had to have a metal plate put into his forearm. It was absolutely the right call by the referee. I only offer you that example to prove my point that intelligent defense is not just for a ground and pound situation. And something that I don't know how this referee missed it, and thank God the opponent is okay. He came to, they took him to the hospital, they gave him some serum. I don't know what it was. That was a quote by the guy. He said, I was given some serum, and that's when he finally came to. He went as far as to say, I saw death. But this is just not a situation that we should ever see. There is a fight going on in California right now, and not done by the state commission there. It's taking place on a reservation. And I'd call him out if I knew, but I can't think of the name of it. But one of my teammates just fought on it. And one of the things that they told him at the rules meeting, and they said this like this was a brave and macho and wonderful thing, is that the referee will not be stopping fights. You are going to fight until you cannot go on. And what kind of twisted logic that is, who would agree to do that, why an athlete would agree to do that, but why any level of organization or a promoter or a sanctioning body or any group of individuals in the year of 2018 would think that that comes with a macho-ness or a bravado is beyond me. That is absolutely terrible that somebody could be putting on a show, calling it mixed martial arts, and informing athletes that they are not going to stop it. I'm out. I'm not watching that, and I'm not participating in that. I am not beating another man if there is not the ability for him to be protected by a trained referee. I never would have thought we would have to have these talks after the year 2000 when the sport started to really clean up and all the sanctioning came in and the regulatory bodies. I never would have thought that you would even have to talk about this because I never assumed that anybody with any level of responsibility would attempt to organize something like this. It is awful and terrible. I had to talk to my teammate about that and go, hey, man, this isn't a cool thing. This is a mistake, and you should not be returning there. I was in some smaller shows, but way back, late 90s, where referees would say that. They would advertise this to promoters. I don't stop fights. I let fight goes. I let the guys figure it out. And I remember the bravado that the referee would say to us. He was selling himself to the promoter. I remember the specific referee I'm even thinking of. I won't say his name, but I remember him trying to sell himself, and I was just standing there as a bystander going, what are you talking about? This is a sport. Why would we ever want to compete under those rules? Why would I want to put myself in a situation where that could happen to me? But on the other side, I don't want to do that to somebody else. You going to beat a guy into oblivion? For what? What do you mean you don't stop fights? It's one of the most important things you can do. If you're not in there to stop a fight as a referee, what are you doing? Just letting them know when the round is up? Oh, hey, guys, I heard the horn. Oh, hey, guys, time to start up again. We wouldn't even need a referee if that was it. The horn's pretty damn loud. Yes, your job is to stop fights. Absolutely. Your job is to be the tag team partner. The fighter's job is to act as though he never wants the fight stopped. To carry on the illusion that he will fight to the finish and he's a warrior and goes to the bitter end. That is the illusion that the fighter puts up. There's not one fighter amongst us that actually means it. Yes, it's a sport. And I tend to hit the shower and go home to my family tonight. And referee, I expect you to help me to make sure that's possible. Get us the winner. We'll go out there with our skills. We'll try to prove our point. Do everything we can for victory. And you step in and make sure that we go home in one piece. It is shocking to me that there could be any other narrative right now. And I'm coupling all of this in together. The referee and the disaster in Brazil doesn't totally tie in with the mess that's going on in a reservation that my teammate just had to go through. All of those things don't completely tie in together other than the narrative that if anybody out there is trying to become a referee and they think that it's this big honorable thing to let the guys figure it out and they're the no-nonsense drill sergeant referee where we're going to go to the bitter end, you're looking at this all wrong. And it's also very clear you've never done the sport, not even a day of training. Not one single day of training have you done, or you would have felt what it's like to be exhausted, be controlled, be pinned down, not be able to protect yourself, forced in positions against your will. You would have felt that in one day of practice and realized how important it is that there's a coach there to say, break. That's what the sport's about. Same as any other sport. That's why football games have 4 quarters. You don't just play until one team walks off the field because they can't go anymore. It's regulated. There's a time frame. There's a scoring system. There's rules and weight classes. It's regulated. And though this sport comes with very few rules, that's true. They still have very good rules. I don't know what happened with that referee in Brazil. I haven't the foggiest idea. And anytime I'm in these situations, before I come out and bury a guy, I'm usually the last to do that because there's no part of me that believes that the referee wanted to leave an unconscious opponent in a chokehold for 90 seconds. I do not believe that. That's not what I'm maintaining at all. The referee just made a mistake. I'm just trying to figure out how. when you watch it on video, it appears very clearly the guy is certainly caught in a choke. It is not crystal clear that the guy is unconscious. I will fully concede to that. It's really hard to know in some of those situations when a guy is unconscious. But the referee is instructed, and the referee is expected to have a level of expertise in this. And when he knows that a guy is in trouble in a choke like that, you can only survive for 4 to 6 seconds. Once 10 and 15 and 20 seconds go by, and you don't see appropriate hand fighting, I don't think you can just use the mere argument of I didn't know he was unconscious and every now and then his leg was moving. I don't think you can do that. It has to be an intelligent defense. If he's not intelligently defended, if he's not in there hand fighting, what does that tell you as the referee? It tells you one of two things. Either he's unconscious or the choke just simply isn't in. The choke is not in. He doesn't even need to hand fight. He's able to breathe. It can tell you that. That's true, which is why the referee communicates. And this is explained in every locker room, before every fight, before every single event. The referee will be in constant communication with you. You have two choices: respond or have the fight stopped. The choice is now yours. So if you would like the fight to be stopped, whether you're in a chokehold or not, you want the referee to make that call, no problem, he'll do it. You can save face and he'll do it for you. Just don't say anything. The other side of it is you respond and say, I'm okay, I'm good. You can give a thumbs up. That's a big one. Where referees will actually ask for that in the back. Boom. Grab a hand, just bring a thumbs up. Speaking is good. No, I don't know that any of these things were even asked for. I know they did not happen because the gentleman was unconscious. So I know they didn't have it, but I don't even know if they were asked for. And then I see the referee in a dialogue with the opponent who's telling him he's out repeatedly, at least 2 times. I watched the video a couple times. At least 2 times that happened. And then the referee is also being engaged with somebody outside of the ring. I don't know who that person was, but I also don't know why the referee was in communication with him. That was very bizarre. And if it was a commission official, they should have waved a towel. The blame goes to the referee here, but there's enough to go around. How did that guy's corner not realize this? How did the commission not realize this? How did nobody realize it? And ultimately, it does fall to the referee. It's one of those positions that's a little tougher to see, which is where the communication of, are you okay? Watching the hand fighting, seeing the intelligent defense. It's very upsetting to me that this happened. And I don't know who the regulatory body was. I don't know if it was the Brazil Commission or if this was one of these underground shows. I don't even know if underground shows still take place in Brazil. But whoever it was needs to come forward. They've got to step forward with some kind of regulation. And we just don't seem to see enough of that.